All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Trinity Competitive Racing. It's round two of the Platinum class for season 15. And we are here in Japan, one of the toughest tracks to overtake as we have seen all week. And we will see how these drivers do today, trying to overtake one another and get to the top step of the podium. My name is Camden Luca, and alongside me once again this week is none other than Golden Class driver Sir Charles. How's it going, man?
It is going quite well. Happy to be here. And yeah, looking forward to be an exciting race here today. It is somewhat difficult to overtake here, but I think this is one of those tracks. We're going to see things get pretty spread out. This really showcases the driver's skill, and you're going to see the skill gap here tonight. So it'll be interesting to see who's on top of the track and who can make it work for them.
For sure, and we do have a blend of platinum drivers and reserve drivers from the Golden Class here tonight. 18 drivers in total, and it looks like Seafreeze has gone off the track right there, so he will have to do another lap. And in front of him, though, FND Cakes, one of those reserve drivers.
Oh yeah, I did not see him in the lobby there, but yeah, he sat on pole yesterday in the Golden Class of 29.4. And the race just didn't quite go his way. Had a couple unfortunate comings togethers, but yeah. Oh, and the silent goes around on the exit of the hairpin there. But so yeah, I look forward to see what he can do today. Like I said, he didn't quite have the race pace as he did the one lap pace. Because like I said, yeah, a lot of these guys who are reserving didn't quite have things go their way, except for Segrist. He had a really good run. He finished P4, came from a long way back in that race. So Segrist certainly proved he could overtake this track. Speaking of in case he goes pole. Real quick, one thing I want to point out, we have Silent, who, like I said, mentioned just spun. He mentioned last week that he likes doing the outlap on mediums. I don't know if he changed his mind, but he's on softs now. Not that it really mattered because he spun, but anyway. Just figured I'd point that out.
So we are hearing from Seafreeze that we're going to need to restart this lobby. We have some people putting up laps right now, but at the moment it looks like qualifying is going to have to get restarted. We have had some disconnections, as you have seen at the bottom of the screen. And we will get this situated, but for now, we do have drivers putting up laps, including somebody on the hard tires. New driver Lawrence is in fifth.
That's interesting. A real no book on him. Like I said, I don't know what the... Again, if he makes it to the podium, we'll definitely ask him about that. Now I see everyone leaving. We're going to keep the stream going.
Yeah, we have to keep the stream going. I've been told that actually from the man himself not to restart this. And I do have an invite, so we're going to go and get in that lobby. Apologies for this, folks. We will get racing back underway in just a second. Some technical issues. Really, we've had technical issues right from the get-go, right before we even got people in the lobby. So that'll happen, but we will have a little intermission right here and then get back underway.
Certainly feel somewhat bad for Stanley because that was a hell of a banker lap there, and well, as soon as I say that, there goes Vader 29-2. But I guess everyone just getting their practice laps out a bit early. Of course, you've left the lobby, haven't you?
Yep, I'm in the new lobby right now.
I'm currently watching Mebby on a hot lap. Oh, this isn't going to be real quick. Maybe he's going to be mad when this is disallowed. And I just got my invite from Seafreeze, so I'll be joining momentarily. Let's see what... This is going to be... Oh! Maybe just ran a 28.9, and that's... A 28.9 was the pole time last year. I don't know really 0.9 what after the 9, but the 28.9 was the pole time here in the Platinum class last year, so maybe might have just bested that on a lap that won't count. Alright. Let me go into the new lobby here. Yeah, unfortunately, technical difficulties. You always seem to have a few
Mm-hmm.
with these lobbies, but
Yep, always happens. But we will get this
yeah,
back underway very shortly, and gives us some time to breathe, I guess. Gives us a reset, and we'll make sure everything is good to go.
yeah. I was a little. I was in a lobby. Um, Last week was actually another league race, and safety car came out, and for some reason, the whole lobby just went sideways. I was actually past the safety car and was somehow leading, and was then a lap down, and then people started getting disqualified for passing the safety car. Even though the safety car was just stationary on the track for no reason. It was a whole mess, and I still don't know what they're doing in that league. So like I said, essentially, because it happened in the middle of pit stop cycles, which is kind of unfair because usually you just go do like the count back rule, but it kind of sucks when there's a championship fight going on and some people are going to get looking at max points just because they didn't pit or whatever. So, hopefully we haven't had that big of an issue in TCR recently that I can tell. The biggest one I think was last year at Jeddah when the VSC came out, but the safety car was still on track going around or whatever. And then I think that's how HVAC Toaster got his win at Jeddah last year, but we haven't had anything like completely break the race in the middle of a race in quite some time in TCR. I don't know. Do you ever remember any of that happening in recent memory?
Not really, no. All right, so leave some comments down in the chat. Who do you think is going to win? What do you think is going to happen? Are we going to have more stupid things happen? It's happened before. It seems to always happen every week. So put down your predictions below. We should get going very shortly.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the pole time was. Like I said, Mebby was already equaling the pole time from last year, 7 minutes into qualifying. So, I have a feeling they're going to be really cooking at the end here. And, I know Taz, or B-Tom, I should say. Well, Taz B-Tom, yes, we can actually call him Taz now. Thank you for fixing that. People, stop changing your names, but it's really freaking confusing. Like Vader, just go back to 007 something. Like 007 Vader. That would make things so much easier. Just please, if you're listening. I digress. And then TJ is back to his original name, which I think that might have been always his name. I digress. He's changed his name a bunch. Yeah, I'll try and get into the Discord to see what the weather. Do you know what the weather's going to be? Because I'm sure they've been talking about it.
The weather is going to be dry and clear because that is what it was in the original session. So we will keep the weather as it was for this session. So no rain. They will not have to worry about any rain, which is what you didn't have to worry about yesterday in the Golden Race.
Yeah, it's been less. It's not a monsoon season in Japan. Usually, especially in Japan, one of the tracks tends to lend itself to some crazy weather. But fortunately, won't be having that any next year, and won't be this race, and won't be having any weather next week either. Because I don't know if you remember this, but it's the 3-tire challenge next week at Brazil, which means we have to use all 3 tire compounds in that race. And the only way to do that is to have clear weather. So, or to guarantee that, we can't take any chances. So, that's something I'm looking forward to. Be a unique challenge.
Absolutely, a unique challenge, and we have not really seen that in TCR before. We did run the sprint races last season for a couple of races. It was a good.
I mention that too. It's a sprint race.
Experiment, yeah, sprint race and 3-tire compounds at Brazil. So it is going to be very interesting, especially around a track like Brazil. More laps than usual, just because of the how quick it is to get around that track compared to others. 36 laps at Brazil, so that should be very interesting. But that is next week. We still have the race tonight here in Japan. Once we get that started, we will see who wins. First two races this week have been interesting, though. No safety cars throughout both the silver and the golden class races.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised about this. It's one of those tracks that's easy to spin, just because of the way the walls are. There's not really many places to just really to crash out at. And like I said, going back to what I was saying earlier, you're really going to see the skill gap, because the way to get around this track fast is just to, attack everywhere, pretty much. You really have to use the curbs just right. If you hit them wrong, you're going to spin. The curbs, for the most part, are forgiving around here, except for the one under the bridge. That one's stay away at all costs. You will die. Same thing with the final chicane. You're going to have to take as much curb as possible to get the best times, and it's one of those things you got to attack and just be so precise, and you push it a little too much, especially through the S's, you're going to go for a spin. But if you don't push, you're just going to be losing time the entire way. So, like I said, I think it's really going to highlight the skill of the drivers, and we're going to see the cream rise at the top in this one.
I definitely agree. I think we are almost ready to go. I think we're just waiting on a couple of people, and then we should get underway. It'll be interesting because we didn't see everybody get a lap in the first session. So do you think the people who already put a lap in the previous session, do you think they're at an advantage, or will this not really affect anything at all?
I think it'll depend very driver. I know for me, it would have been a huge advantage, because I'm definitely one that's more of a rhythm driver. So I like being able to get into a rhythm. So I try to practice right up until the lobby opens. Of course, not like everyone probably does that, but it'll be the same conditions, so they won't have much to adjust to. But yeah, I think it'll be a pretty good advantage for them, because you got to think, they got that lap in, they were able to kind of get up to speed. Everyone else who didn't get a lap in, they've been sitting here. I mean, what? The first lobby opened at 8:30. Like, they've been sitting here doing nothing for a half an hour. So it'll probably, take them a lap or so to maybe shake the cobwebs off. So that'll be interesting to see. Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see once we get this lobby going. I will say, if we started now, it'd still be earlier than what the Golden Class lobby started last week. So.
Yeah,
we only got a couple more minutes on that, so I don't know who we're waiting on. We had, 17 drivers?
18.
So 18, oh.
18, yeah. Well, do we want to place bets as to whether or not we're going to get started in the next couple of minutes, or will this become the longest delay of the season so far?
Yeah, who are we waiting on?
I believe Lawrence is one of them.
Okay, well, I don't have him as a friend anywhere.
And there's Lawrence. So the last person, I think so now we have 18, so we should be ready to go. I believe everybody is finally here. Lawrence, once he gets in his car, then we will, there we go, he does. So we are back underway. A little delay, but we should be ready to go for round 2 of the Platinum class.
Well, we should probably, I guess, go through, I don't know, maybe go through the standings from last week. D. Freeze, obviously he's won the race last week, so he's obviously leading the standings. Not much to really delve into, only one race in. Of course, due to a steward's penalty, C. Freeze's last lap overtake on Silent meant absolutely nothing, so yeah, shoot, I don't have the results right for me. Did Silent keep second place? Do you know? I feel like they had a decent gap.
I believe so. I believe he's in second place. Yeah, he got a 5-second time penalty, but they were pretty far ahead. So, yeah, but like you said, it's round 1. So really, after this race, we'll start to get a better understanding of where people are truly at with their pace, and yeah, we'll go from there.
Yes, a couple things to note. I know Taz has never won here, in TCR at least. Times we've been here. Like I said, Vader won here last season. That was broke a very long winless streak for him. Him and Seafreeze dueled pretty much the entire race, with Seafreeze coming in a close second. Where Seafreeze was on the pole in that race. And then I think Taz finished third. I was watching the back just before the streak, but I think he had a back of the grid penalty, so he came all the way from last, which I think was, I don't know, it was like the same as this, like 17 or 18 drivers to finish third. So that was, those guys all have a pretty good grasp on this track. I'd expect, obviously, Mebby's been always going to be quick, as well as Silent, so, and of course Silent did get a penalty for the contact, trying to overtake Taz last week, so, it'll be interesting to see how that shapes up. Well, obviously, Silent probably disagrees with that decision.
Definitely. And with all the Platinum drivers today, we have 3 people reserving from the Golden class. We have Segrist, who ended up doing a hard to soft strategy yesterday, and it did gain him a lot of track position, so we'll have to look out for that. Maybe Segrist does that again today, or maybe somebody else was watching the race yesterday and they'll adopt his strategy for this race.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. He definitely had a good race yesterday. Kind of barged his way through the field somewhat, but hey, he made it work. Definitely made a few overtakes and just able to get out in some clean track there with strategy and just bang out some laps. And as he got on the softs, he was pretty quick. Like I said, after DK, like I mentioned earlier, was the pole sitter yesterday. And obviously the race didn't quite go as well. Same with Ben swerving. He ended up DNFing. You having a giggle? Not really sure. I feel like he had a pretty uneventful race. He finished P8, so had a pretty decent drive for him. I think that's just those 4 guys are the reserves some Golden class tonight. Then, of course, we have Lawrence of Arabia, making his debut in any class in TCR, I believe.
That is correct. As D'Angelo goes off the final corner here to the finish line, he is going to be the first one to start a lap as he opens the DRS up in 8th gear. Let's see how he does down in turns 1 and 2. Down in the 4th gear. Gets right on that curb out of turn 2 when the S is right here. People who are on a wheel definitely have an advantage through this section of the track.
Yeah, see, I'm on pads, so I couldn't comment, but like I said, I really, they really struggled getting a rhythm through here yesterday for some reason. It's usually not much of an issue. Yeah, through the diagonals, you just hurl yourself into the first one, and then this one here, you cannot straddle that curb. You will spin. Angel does a good job getting to that limit right here, all the way down to 2nd gear. I usually don't go below 4th. Really surprising there, but hey, he makes it work, and like I said, he's faster than I am, so I should probably keep my mouth shut, so.
He knows what he's doing, and we saw Segrist actually try to begin his lap. He spun out right before the pit lane, so he'll have to try again next time around.
D'Angelo looks smooth through the spoon curves. Now it's a long stretch down to 130R. Shocking, he's purple through the 2nd sector. First one beautiful. And this one here, just take as much curb as you possibly feel comfortable. You didn't really quite use the curbs as much as you can there. And you're going to see guys like Taz and Professional. It's a really good lap though, but you're going to see guys like Taz and Professional just absolutely abuse those curbs in that final chicane. And it's really hard to do to hit it right, because you have to hit it just right, or else it'll really upset your car. But those guys run like a 29 flat right there. I guarantee you, those are where those 2/10 came from Seafreeze.
Yeah, Seafreeze to the top of the board. Aston Martin 1-2 right now, and he is just 4 thousandths off of a 128. And the TCR F1 racer has put in a lap. That is definitely a banker lap from him, down in the 130s, but I'm sure he will improve on that lap.
From Golden class. I thought I saw him in the lobby. He did not have a very good race yesterday. Here comes Professional or Vader, and he definitely does a good job using those curbs. And coming to the line right now. And 29.3. Again, he's... Oh, and then he just spins out.
I'm not sure what he's doing here. Did he... You know what I think he was doing right there? I think he was putting himself in practice mode. Most people in practices only have corner cutting on for the penalties. He was probably by instinct thinking he could go backwards. As Silent, his teammate, however, goes to the top of the charts, the first driver in the 128s.
And that is officially faster than last year's pole time. Speaking of it, Vader was only about like 0.02 behind Seafreeze last year, so it'll be interesting to see what he does. And of course, he still has time to get in 2 more laps here, so I'm sure he'll be able to get those laps in. Maybe he's on the lap now. Remember, he set the 29.8 or 28.9 before we had to cut to the new lobby. And he's coming through Sector 1 right now in the Haas.
He's going through Sector 1. TJ heading into Sector 3 right here, going into turns 16, 17, and 18. Down into 3rd gear. Oh, it gets sideways on exit. Let's see what this lap is going to be. So 129.9 is there's Taz.
That is a quick one. He said he was saying he put a 28.6 in practice one time. Oh, and maybe he loses it on the exit of the spoon.
And he's into the barrier, so that will take away his lap.
Fortunately, he does, like I said again, he should still have time to get into the pits real quick here and get 2 more laps in. Trying to see here. We have Raikkonen, who is, I think, on the end lap. Yeah, that's real slow, so. Speaking of Raikkonen, he'll be driving some NASCAR here in a couple weeks.
Yes, he will. And Jensen Button as well has been announced to run the race at Circuit of the Americas.
Yeah, really not. Jensen's on 3 races this year, actually. I forget where the other, I think it's Indy Road Course, and I don't know where the other one's at. One of the road courses, but that's not too terribly surprising for him because he is doing the Garage 56 NASCAR entry at Le Mans with Jimmy Johnson and I think it's Mike Rockefeller is the other driver, I believe. So no real surprise there.
Yeah, but FFR Raikkonen, the one in TCR, puts up a banker lap of 138. I'm sure his pace will improve throughout the session. Who else do we have that's finished up a lap? Cam, P9, a 130 flat, tucks him in right behind FND Cakes, which, like you said, he put up the pole time yesterday in the Golden Class race, couldn't quite get the result due to bad luck, but I don't think that's the best we've seen from FND in this session.
Nah, yeah, I'd say pole time yesterday was a 29.4. That's not quite good enough to be terribly competitive here. Speaking of Golden Class drivers, have you having a giggle on the lap? He's looking through the second sector split. He's looking to be just under 130. So he'll be right around where FND Cakes is right now, assuming he gets through this chicane. He seems like he does quite nicely.
He's coming to the finish line. P10, a 130.2.
Yeah, and he qualified well down the order yesterday and just kind of quietly worked his way up through the pack. Like I said, he had a pretty quiet day in P8 yesterday, so it'll be interesting to see if he can show any more this week. FND Cakes is going to pull, I think he's going to pull into the, oh wait, no, that was just a glitch in my screen, I don't know what that was.
Yeah, I think he's starting his lap right here. Let's ride on board with him. Let's see what FND does here down into the right-hander of turns 1 and 2.
That looked pretty smooth to me. Let's see how he goes. There's grit. You can really take that first curve there, but again, it's a dangerous thing to do. Down to 5th gear. 5th gear pretty much the entire way, up to 6. Well, what gear you use through there? I usually go 6th gear the entire way, pretty much, at least on fresh tires.
Yeah, I go 6th gear as well. I typically, as he invalidates there out of turn 8. Yeah, I think the lowest gear on this entire track I use is 4th gear, actually, so we're pretty similar in that regard.
Yeah. Eagers just jumped up P6. Again, he had a pretty good run in Platinum last week before, I don't know, some commentator said something about him.
Yeah, we said a lot of things about a lot of people yesterday, which did not work in our favor, or theirs.
Alright, let's see, I think. Trying to see who's starting a lap and who's not. This thing tends to be...
Seafreeze just started a lap. Yeah, he and his teammates 3-4 right now, and of course Seafreeze, our points leader, after winning the Australian Grand Prix in week 1 by doing it on the last lap against the guy who was right ahead of him on the grid. So Seafreeze and Silence seem to always find each other as of late. Oh, and same corner that FND Cakes invalidated in turn 8. He goes a little bit wide.
Yeah, and then that one's, you know, kind of tricky. I mean, like I said, in order to make time, you just gotta throw your car in there and it can be pretty precise. You can't take too much curb at the same time, so. It can be tricky. Yeah, it's not one of the ones that I usually, not one of the ones I usually have highlighted as my tricky corners, but it seems to be catching some of these guys out right here.
For sure. And Silent, he was able to make it through turn 8, but I noticed he nearly got all 4 wheels on the other side of the curb. So that is definitely a corner to watch out for tonight with these drivers. In the Golden Class race, for some reason, most of the incidents was in the hairpin. These drivers seem to not be having an issue through there, but apparently it's turn 8 for the Platinum drivers as Silent is... Yep, he's looking to get pole right now. Let's see what he does.
No, I'll say that hairpin, it's very tricky to get the traction down. And let's see what he does. Phew, boy, that is quick.
Yeah, he's been on it in qualifying. He was on it last week, and right now, a 128.6. So Silent is showing up. Let's see what B-Tom has in store. It looks like he is about to begin a lap right here, so we'll keep an eye on him. Let's take a look at Silent's teammate. I'm not sure if he's on a lap. His battery is displaying that he's not going to be in for a good lap right here if he is on one, so we'll see if Darth Vader does anything, but I'm not too optimistic at the moment. TJ off. Turn 8 once again. Another driver here to look at. Chargers trying to make up some spots on the grid. He just went through Spoon.
Maybe he's coming through the final chicane here. I don't think he's going to have quite the pace to be on pole, but he really gets through that last chicane quite well. He'll be into 28s. To see how far into the 28s he'll be. There it is, slots into third.
Yeah, 128.8. A tenth behind B-Tom and 2/10 behind Silent.
Yeah, so maybe he might have to hustle a bit to get the car around and make sure he gets out in another lap. It does take some time. The engineers here tend to take their sweet time getting the car in and out, so...
Yeah, I don't think he's going to have an issue when it comes to a teammate. We saw, I believe yesterday, there was a situation with the Aston Martins coming into the pits. They double stacked in the last couple of minutes of qualifying, and that hurt one of them in the end. But I think TCR F1 Racer is in right now, and Mebe is still in Sector 2. So 4 minutes left in qualifying. B-Tom is around in the S's. He was a little bit ahead of his time, but now he's going to be in a hole.
Yeah, that's probably it. And it already says he has 1 lap on his tire, so yeah, that should be it for him in quali. Meanwhile, we have F&D Cakes on a lap. Let's see where he is at. 3/10 up on his time, but again, that's not quite where he wants to be. This should improve him by quite a bit if he nails this last chicane. He gets through there pretty nicely.
That was pretty good. He's going to stay towards the inside wall and go up only a couple spots up to P9.
Oh, and he's 3,000s off Stanley, who's on an outlap right now.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's 2/10 off his pole time from yesterday, so he'll be probably a bit disappointed with that. And looks like everyone's either in the pits or on their outlap, and for the guys saving their last lap to the end, this is about when you'd see him going out.
Yeah, this is that loophole that we see in qualifying. About 3 to 4 minutes left. Everybody goes back into the pits as B-Tom is trying to get back to the pits as soon as he can, doing some off-road racing and speeding into the pit lane. Man, I mean, hats off to him, but that was risky. I mean, I think he got a little airborne right there going through the sand.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. He should... And I said, TJ's out on track, so don't get held up by him. You having a giggle just completed lap and did not improve.
Yeah, and I do want to reiterate, there are no rules against doing that. I actually double-checked this with C-Freeze last week for round 1. You can do that in qualifying. As long as you're not harming anybody else, you can go and cut as many corners as you can to get back into the pits to try and do another lap, and B-Tom did it to the extreme right there.
You know, it's going to be interesting because, you know, one thing that is technically allowed and that is when you go in tracks like France, you can kind of do a double toe if you have a good teammate. You can have your teammate just go cut the chicane on the back stretch, and then you take the chicane and he'll be right in front of you again for the second straight. That's one little loophole that you can do. I saw C-Freeze and Vader do that a while back. And I called them out on it, but apparently it's in the rules, so... I think Stanley's going to be the first one coming around on the lap here. He's in Sector 2 right now.
Oh, and
DK... Well, yeah, that's right. He wasn't going to have enough time to get another lap in, so...
Yeah, and Stanley seems to be using lower gears. He used 5th gear all the way through the S's, and in the hairpin, he went down to 3rd.
FND case is disconnected. Hopefully he can get back in.
Yeah, that would be unfortunate. He, like I said, he was quick in qualifying yesterday, had some bad luck, did not get any points, and I would hate to see the same thing happen today for him.
Let's be clear, 29.6 isn't slow.
No, not at all. He could definitely contend for maybe a top 5 position today.
Does not seem like Stanley's going to improve here. He's slightly down on his time. He might improve on his lap time, but he's got a little ways to go to catch Raikkonen, so I don't think he'll improve his position any. He does improve a 10th, but like I said, he doesn't move up any, so... if the guys behind him start moving, that could end up actually saving him a spot, but we shall see.
Oh gosh, I mean, we have everybody who is still in the session on track right now. Charles, pick a driver. Who are we going to watch?
F1 Racer coming to the line. That's not going to be what he was looking for.
No, not at all.
Silent's currently going through the first sector, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do.
Wow, did you see that? He is up 2/10 already through the S's.
I think that was just a glitch, because he hasn't reached his sector split yet. There it is. He's up. There he is. Up about half a tenth.
Yeah, still up. I mean, at this rate, he could really solidify himself as the pole sitter.
Yeah, definitely. I'm trying to see if there's anyone ahead of him. There's an Alpha. It looks like there's an Alfa Romeo. There's also a Red Bull who just spun. That's Charter's Charger. Charter's just bending on the exit of. Soon, Rockstar has rejoined. TJ's retired.
He retired on track right there.
Well, again, it's a car!
Yeah, oh no, that was close. That's a Red Bull sitting in the middle of the track right there.
Let's see if that. I don't think that Silent did not lift, so I don't think that really affected him too much. He is still up slightly on his time.
Oh, that was a good chicane. Great job. Oh, what's his lap gonna be?
He still improved somehow. That would have been great if he would have kept it in. Here comes B-Tom coming through the chicane now. He really gets up on the curb.
Yeah, Darth Vader just missed him by a couple of thousandths. What about B-Tom?
And
slower.
He does not improve. Mebby coming to the line. He didn't improve either, and that might be it, everybody. Got Seagrass coming to the line. And need to not improve.
That will do it for qualifying. So Silence turning into the qualifying master after his close call last week, coming as close as you can to invalidating in Australia, but still putting up a smoker of a time. He does it again this week on top of the charts to start this race.
We did miss Vader there in P3, narrowly missing P2. So we did miss him banging in his lap. So he jumped up to P3 right at the end.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty competitive grid. I mean, you look at the top 5, they're all separated by 0.3, and even like you look at the midfield, you have some drivers here like Stanley through Segrist, all within just about a couple of tenths of each other. So it should be an interesting race.
And just look at the quality of drivers. I mean, you got TJ down in 13th. I mean, these are some fast, seriously fast guys that aren't starting near the front. And I'll just say this, like, for most people, like, even average players, even really good players, like, 29.5 is pretty quick, and, you know, that's, not even placing you in the top half of this race, so, these guys have definitely put into practice, and they are on it today.
They are on it. And, you know, this kind of reminds me of the Golden Class race from yesterday. We saw Tebow and SBM, 2 quicker drivers, start out of the points. And although Tebow crashed out, SBM worked his way all the way up into the podium when it was all said and done.
Yeah, he didn't have to work for one of those overtakes. Like, kind of that's a whole nother story. Crossplay issues. But I think
it's always there.
See, I forgot, Segrist in this lobby, so crossplay does not exist. Or it's not no issue. It was just a skill issue that caused my car to jump back half a second, but I digress. Alright, well...
It's that time.
It is that time.
Who do you got?
Well, I'm going to go with someone... I'm going to go with the guy who won the race last... Oh, man.
It's tough.
I'm going to go with the guy who won the race last year. I'm going to go with Vader. Like I said, he was rock solid here last year. And pretty much led most of the way. He was able to get the win. I think he's going to finally beat B-Tom in a head-to-head battle. Like I said, he's come very close several times. And honestly, most of the time through no fault of his own. And sometimes he's lost that battle through no fault of his own. So I'm going to say B-Tom P2. P3. Well, shoot, I want to say Mebby, but Mebby's either going to win or crash. That's kind of his MO. P3, I'm going to go... You know what? Just for the sake of championship purposes and mixing things up, I'm going to go... Oh, no, I don't want to go top 3 in the top 3. I'm going to go C-Freeze in P3 just because he's really freaking consistent. And, like, if he... thing I'll say about C-Freeze is that if he doesn't have race-winning pace, like he didn't really have race-winning pace last week, he's more than happy to settle for, like, P3. He doesn't beat himself. He doesn't throw away cheap points. So I'm going to say C-Freeze will at least be on the podium today.
All right, so I will do my predictions now. I'm going to go with B-Tom. I think B-Tom's going to return to the top step of the podium. He was quick last week and got into a little incident with the guy that's starting in front of him, but I think he's going to have a cleaner race and he's going to get the win. I'm going to go. I think Mebe will rebound as well. I think he's going to have a clean race. I think he's learned a little bit from last week and coming so close to winning round 1. I think he's going to finish on the podium in round 2. And then right behind them, let's go with D'Angelo. I think D'Angelo, he's been doubted going into this season. There were several predictions that had him finishing outside the top 15 in points, which is hard to believe. But I think he's going to get his first platinum podium today.
Yeah, D'Angelo, I don't see how you have him finishing outside the top 15. D'Angelo's one of those, he's kind of like Mebby. He's really fast. He's one of those guys, I could... I hope he proves me wrong, but there's a reason he didn't win the Golden Class championship last year, despite being, arguably the fastest driver. he might score in 4 races on only 4 races, but he'll be on the podium in those 4 races or something crazy. So, D'Angelo's always a dark horse, always a contender for the win. Don't be surprised if you see him up there. And of course, you got to look at Segrist, TJ, all coming from the back. Rockstar finished P5 on track last week, but got demoted. I know he's really quick here at Japan. So yeah, what is this camera angle?
Yeah, I switched to B-Tom's camera angle here.
Guys cannot park, apparently.
No, I couldn't do it on Tuesday. I couldn't do it on Tuesday, as wow, we have poor drivers who cannot park. I'm curious to see if they have their general driver's license. But you don't need a driver's license to compete in TCR, as here we go. We are getting underway. 5 red lights. Lights out and away we go. From the Japanese Grand Prix, who is going to get off the line better than everybody else? B-Tom is side by side with Silent as they head down into turns 1 and 2. They're neck and neck, and B-Tom is going to get the advantage. Silent is going to do the crossover here, but B-Tom clears him heading into the S's.
All clean in the back. So far, looks like we had TJ run a bit wide, but no harm, no foul. Oh, we have one car. You having a giggle in the grass. And he loses a couple spots. He was towards the back anyway, but other than that, everyone through cleanly.
Yeah, very clean start, actually. Very orderly. Everybody single file. Let's take a look at the positions gained off the start. As we said, B-Tom overtook Silent. That is a huge move right there. And guys like Ben Swerven and TCR F1 Racer moving up 4 spots.
Yeah, good moves from those guys. Like I said, it's... Now Lawrence on the back of D'Angelo. That's going to be real close to see if there's any side-by-side battles. Like coming through the pack, everyone's just kind of content to settle on the line here, which is good. And a nice refreshing turn 1 after the chaos last yesterday in the Golden Class race. Remember, you can't win the race in turn 1, but you sure can lose it.
That is true. We saw Rafa Hulk make contact after starting on the front row, spinning around. Rizzy got involved in that. It was a big crash. But 6th and 7th, the furthest up through the grid on hard tires, the top 5 full of mediums.
Yeah, and it was interesting in the Golden Class race yesterday, like, almost the entire grid was on hards at the start. So, kind of the opposite here today. As TJ gets around Rockstar. And again, everyone kind of just minding their business. Lawrence did get around D'Angelo. He missed that overtake. But...
I got it. I saw it happen.
You did not miss that overtake.
No, I did not. And, you know, something with Rockstar real quick. Keep an eye out for Rockstar. You know, he was able to make his way through the grid last week, and he finished P5 on track, but due to a penalty, it put him towards the back end of the points.
Yeah, and he is pretty quick around here. He doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes, so hopefully he can work his way up.
For sure. He was your teammate last season.
He was, and... yeah, we were hoping to run it back in the Golden Class, which is probably a good thing we didn't, because I'm not doing much of anything this season. But you know, it's like B-Tom. That was interesting. Silent was not using any battery. I did not, but B-Tom just pulled away from him on the straight, so that'll be something to look out for.
Yeah, and DRS is active now this lap, so we'll really see what Silent can do. What will he do? Remember last week, he tried to overtake B-Tom and it resulted in a crash.
Yeah, so, and so I know Silent wasn't too happy about it, even if he's the one who got the penalty, which, I mean, I can kind of see where he's coming from, but it looks like B-Tom was using a bit of DRS there on that straightaway, at least more than Silent, so... Maybe not as big as a straight line difference as it looked. But yeah. Vader and Mebby, I have a feeling, are just kind of minding their business. Same with Seafreeze. They're probably just sitting there looking at these two up front and thinking, okay, what's going to happen? This is kind of the way it was last week, too, you know? Those two up front, and these guys were all just kind of lining up behind them and waiting for something to happen. Someone who really seems to be struggling for pace here early is D'Angelo. He got passed by Lawrence and has already fallen out of DRS range of him. He has the other Mercedes right behind him.
He was in my podium prediction, so hopefully D'Angelo gets up there. But I have a feeling we're about to see a pass for the lead right here. Silent has a little bit more battery than B-Tom, and he's about to enter the front stretch. He's gaining on him right here.
It's all about the exit, and I think B-Tom's going to get the better exit here. And I think Silent might have to wait another lap.
He's draining the battery. Let's see. Is he going to make a move right here?
Yeah, he thinks better of it. Say, turn one gets real narrow real quick. Again, I'm somewhat surprised they made it through there in the first lap, so kudos to these guys. F1 Racer got right to the back of Ben Silver and couldn't quite do anything.
No. And we saw Segrist have an issue, so after the strategy put him up towards the front yesterday, he's going to have a little bit more work ahead of him in this race.
Yeah, and it's kind of one of those things, you might have to wait for the one thing we haven't seen this week, and that's a safety car. We did have a VSC yesterday, which probably should have been a full safety car, but...
Yeah, well, we saw a couple of incidents in the silver class race. I don't think anything that could have brought out a full course safety car, but we have had some incidents this week.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of places here where you can spin. The way the walls are, though, they're usually slow spins, which is kind of the way the track works, so... yeah, it'll be interesting. Looks like we've got TJ on the back of F1 Racer down the pack. Of course, the battle for the lead is probably what you're looking at. But
yeah, we're about to see a battle here, and keep an eye out for Silent's teammate. He's closing in about 7/10 behind.
And Silent does set the fastest lap here. We got a couple good battles well back in the pack. Let's see if there's going to be any movement. Meanwhile, Silent looks like he's going for it.
Yeah, he's been draining a lot of battery here in the past couple of laps, already down to 50%, while B-Tom has also been draining it, so these guys are pushing here early on.
F1 Racer around Ben Sorvin. He gets that move done this time, second time's charm. See if Ben can latch onto the back of F1 Racer. Look if there's any other position changes throughout the field. D'Angelo is now 2 seconds behind Lawrence, but... does seem to be keeping Raikkonen at bay. Raikkonen not really challenging him any, so...
Yeah, you are right about D'Angelo's pace.
Pushing B-Tom into the hairpin. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but...
Yeah, D'Angelo's pace, man, you said it. He does not seem to have the pace on these hard tires early on. You know, maybe once the tires get into their prime, he'll speed up, but falling back from Lawrence.
And I will say the hards are probably the better tire overall here. They last pretty well, and I mean, by lap 5 or 6, about where we are now, the pace pretty much evens out. So, now one thing will be interesting to see is when you get into pit stops, because and Silent almost loses it there.
Yeah, he almost hit B-Tom going into turn 16, and now he's under pressure from his teammate.
Yeah, he'll have DRS, so I think he'll be fine. And that's just one of the things I'm saying. It's like, you know, when you get right up next to one, and also them curbs, if you hit them just wrong, and he's probably locked up slightly there too, it can really upset your car. Now it'll be interesting to see if Silent can just pull right back to the back of B-Tom after losing almost a second.
TJ goes around in turn 1. He got a little bit towards the outside on the first corner and lost the traction of the car, and it looks like Charger's in the grass as well.
Oh, that's unfortunate for TJ because he started 13th, but he fell back to last and slowly making progress through the field. But looks like it's going to come to nothing here.
Yeah, he was side by side with Ben, and like I said, I think he just missed his braking point a little bit and tried to get back to the throttle. And not a good first couple of weeks, at least starting this race. Not good as well so far for Mr. TJ.
Yeah, and he's someone who, I had on a short list to at least win a race or two this year, especially after last season. But like I said, not a good start for him. I got Rockstar on Ben swerving. Oh, and Raikkonen's left the session. That's going to hurt his pace. We actually had a really unfortunate situation in the Golden Class race yesterday. Is GMBZ. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it. He's a new driver from the French Canadian League. So Golden Class is basically the French Canadian League tier now. But he got disconnected, so I actually paused, sent him another invite, and as soon as he dropped in the session, the AI pitted his car. Like, that's just something that's... I mean, that would make me throw my controller through a window.
Yeah, it's happened to me before. Not in this league, but it has happened before. And yeah, that's a shame for Raikkonen. Hopefully he can get back in here. But I know we've had a couple of connection issues. FND lost connection before, but it seems like he's all set and ready to go.
And Raikkonen, the AI has not pitted him. I guess that's good.
Yeah, well, I mean, it would be really early, even for the AI to pit him.
I'm gonna spin. That's Ben swerving.
Yeah, and he's doing donuts here under the bridge.
Doing a little too much swerving, apparently, but
he was swerving yesterday too. Trust me.
I'm not the first one who's made that joke. I know, but
no, he was swerving into that car yesterday. Actually, one of the Alpines.
Well, it was F&D Cakes. I was looking forward to maybe seeing them two together, but F&D Cakes having a solid start to the race so far. Knock on wood. Alright.
Did you hear that?
Yes, I did hear that.
Good. Alright, you should be good to go, FND Cakes. They had a photo finish for 12th place yesterday, actually. I was telling FND to spin him out, but he didn't listen, apparently.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the incident report would have been for 12th place, but, you never know. I mean, I guess if it comes down to count back, there's like a 1 in a billion chance that could matter, I suppose.
Man, I love the camera angles here in Japan, especially through the S's, seeing them go from left to right like that, and then right under the bridge right here, goodbye, and there he is again. Yeah, Silent, he's closed back in a little bit, but we can tell he has been pushing just based on his battery usage, and this has allowed B-Tom to harvest some of that battery just because he has a little bit of a gap, but I have a feeling we'll be seeing Silent take one more shot at him here before they come into the pits.
Yeah, and I'll just point out, the guy who saved the most battery by far in this group is Vader in third. It just seems like he's sitting there cruising, doesn't really seem to be pushing too much. I'll tell you, one guy who's having a really good run, the front runner on the hard tires is Raikkonen. He is closing back in on these guys.
Raikkonen?
That was Lawrence, sorry. Raikkonen disconnected. Yeah, but Lawrence, the newcomer, he is closing right back in on these guys. Like I said, he was over 2 seconds behind, now down to just 2.2 seconds. He just has his fast slap right on cue.
Yeah, good job, Charles. That was perfect. You're like the anti-commentator's curse. Anything you say comes to light. For me, anything I say goes to hell. It goes to shit. So.
Well, that was not the case last week, but hopefully that'll change. You having a giggle, pressuring Rockstar. I think Rockstar up to P12, but someone just pitted, I think.
Nobody is pitted yet.
They just got around Raikkonen, that's what it was.
Which, that is surprising, though, that we have not seen anybody pit yet. And, yeah, Rockstar up 4 spots. TCR F1 Racer up 7. Remember, he started down in last.
Yeah, so good starts for those guys. And really, the only reason why you pit now is so maybe you can get a couple clean laps in. I said, I tried it last night. Didn't quite work, but, if you're someone like Freeze who thinks, I'm feeling faster than these guys in front of me. Or Vader then be, we gotta spin, that's swerving again.
Same spot as last time.
But yeah, if you're in like a train and you feel like you can just make some time up on your own, maybe you pit now. But if not, like I said, the overcut doesn't really work just because You know, the hards warm up quickly because of the S section, but the thing is you lose so much time through that first S section on hard just because you have no grip. Once you get through there, the hards are usually pretty much good to go, but the overcut, or the undercut, does not really work too well here unless you have, like, you know, a 3 or 4 lap undercut. You can really just bang out laps on your own. And that's really the only way to make the undercut work proper, or overcut work. No, the undercut work. I'm getting myself mixed up. You know what I'm trying to say.
I do, and Cam and Stanley swapping positions, Giggle and Rockstar swapping positions, so Rockstar going down a place. His progress making his way through the field will have to be put on hold for the moment after a good overtake by the Giggler.
Yeah, Giggle had a surprising pace yesterday. Maybe I shouldn't say surprising. I don't want to sound like I'm underestimating him, but...
Oh! Contact right there! Segrist got into the back of the Red Bull, and he is spun out through the S's. Oh, and he just took out his own sign. He took out the BWT sign, as that gives us a virtual safety car right as the medium tire. Okay, now we're good to go. That was a full course safety, or VSC, for a second right there. I think that was a glitch.
That would completely ruin the strategy because everyone just come in right now. Unless you're, well, that would have made things interesting for the Ferraris, but I digress. And do we have a VSC?
No, it did show it for a second. I think the game was just trying to fool us, though.
Yeah, it's doing things. Yeah, let's say Mebby's pressuring Vader here. Making Vader use some of his ERS. T-Freeze! Remember what I said a lap ago? He's trying to go to do the overcut here. Or undercut.
Ooh, that was a quick pit stop by the Aston Martin guys.
Now Seafreeze is going to be real crucial here for Seafreeze. Can he get out ahead of this pack? Oh, he's not going to. Like I said, I don't think it's going to matter because these guys should be pitting soon anyway. Now it's going to be real interesting for Seafreeze because he's going to be slower than these guys. Will these guys be patient with him, or will they just try to shove him out of the way? Again, once Seafreeze makes it through this S session, he should be good to go. But until then, really got to be careful, and you can't let these guys get on. Like I said, there's no real place to overtake here, and I think Seafreeze should be good to go. The problem with him, though, is that he's got Rockstar and Giggle right in front of him on hard tires, so they will not be pitting for a while yet. I think it's really going to hurt Seafreeze.
Yeah, and he has his former teammate right behind him, Chargers, and Chargers nearly getting into the back of him right there, but I think Seafreeze is going to be able to pull away.
Yeah, and let's see if any of these guys up front decide to respond. We have a Segrist goes around again. I mean, the Alpines are not going so good. And there goes Silent into the pits. And Mebby. Silent and Mebby into the pits.
Don't speed. Good job.
Now this is going to be real interesting to see. Will they get out? How will they get out in relation to you having to Giggle and Rockstar, which is where Seafreeze is at? Again, if these guys, Giggle and Rockstar get ahead of the net leaders here, it's going to make things really interesting.
Yeah, and looks like Stanley F&D Cakes into the pits as well. TCR, F1 Racer back towards the grid there.
They're going to get out ahead of Giggle and...
Ooh!
They're up here.
Yeah, that was close between Giggle and Rockstar.
Yeah, and that pretty much ruins... I mean, that really hurt Seafreeze right there. Coming in a lap early did not work for him. I mean, you can just tell, like, all that time, that gap between... that gap between Rockstar and Seafreeze is the gap that he had. Now Rockstar is going to go for the move on Giggle. Seafreeze gets around him.
Yeah, he just let him through right there. Rockstar got a bad exit out of turn 9 because he just tapped the rear wing of Giggle, and it hurt his momentum.
You know, Seafreeze really has to make this move quick here.
How aggressive will he be on the straightaway? Can he get the move done before 130R?
He's going to dump all his battery. He Giggle's dumping the battery too. He's not making it easy on him. Top 2 are in the pits.
All right.
Seafreeze going to go for it here.
Yep, right here.
Giggle's not gonna roll over for
Oh no! Contact made, and that's a
Yes.
domino effect. TJ's got damage, and he's around.
And so does Rockstar, and I think the Chargers does too. There's like 5 cars that had damage right there.
Oh man, disaster for several drivers. I'm sure we're going to see something in the incident report after this race.
Yeah, I mean, I think Seafreeze was trying. I think what happened there was Giggle just locked up just a little bit, and I think Seafreeze tried to didn't turn in on him and didn't quite anticipate it. I think if Seafreeze would have just taken half his car off track, they could have all gotten through there, no problem. But I tell you what, what I'm really looking forward to seeing is, can Lawrence bang out some quick laps here by himself? That's going to be the key to see where he comes out at in relationship to the other guys behind him.
Yeah, I mean, Giggle, I'm not sure if he really needed to defend that move as hard as he did, but kind of forced Seafreeze tight there in turn 16, and that was definitely avoidable, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. In Giggle's defense, he didn't completely go off track there, so it's like, it's not like he completely blew through the corner. But yeah, I agree. If you're Seafreeze, that's really frustrating when someone who's not on that. Lawrence bangs in the fastest lap. That's exactly what he needs to do. But yeah, if you're Seafreeze, that's just so frustrating when someone who's really not even in the same race as you just starts defending as hard as he can like that. And, man. That is really frustrating if you're Seafreeze.
Yeah, after being at the highest of highs in week 1, winning the Australian Grand Prix with a lap pass, today he is in last.
And it'll be interesting to see if, if we can get a safety car. Like I said, we haven't seen any this week, but that's really the only hope that Seafreeze has now. And he put on softs. That's probably a Codemaster strategy mistake right there. I had to guess.
Yeah, for sure. But now, what we'll have to look at, though, is when will the top 3 come into the pits? I can imagine maybe in the next few laps or so, we'll see the top 3 come in, and then it's a question of where will they come out in regard to B-Tom, Darth Vader, and everybody else who just pit a couple laps ago.
Yeah, well, realistically, I think they're all slot in. I think the top 2 will slot in just where they were. They're pretty much, or second and third rather, slot in pretty much where they were. They pretty much had their own little gap there. It'll be in between Giggle and Stanley. Of course, Giggle still has to make a pit stop as well. I think they'll slot in right there. And Lawrence, like I said, that's the one we're going to keep an eye out on. We do have a yellow flag in Sector 2. Looks like that's gotten sorted.
Seegers has spun out twice, so his tires are really hot. I want to watch him in the hairpin right here.
Alright, and once again, the train continues. Taz, Vader, Silent, and Mebby. There's been no movement among these 4 since the start of the race, and they're still in the same order. It's interesting that Vader was able to jump Silent at some point. So it looks like the overcut worked for him, at least to jump his teammate. Again, that's something that he had to do, because obviously you can't double stack. And he has more battery than all 3 of the other guys that he's racing. So, like I said, Vader looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, for sure. B-Tom's got 40% battery, and he's got 55.
Yeah. Again, the only thing, if Lawrence can get out, the only thing against Lawrence is that if he doesn't get out in front of those guys, he'll really need to hustle the car around. Segrist has retired in the pits. Okay, I got excited there for a second.
That was good. Oh, he's retired in the pits. All right, we get no safety car. Darn.
But Lawrence sets another fastest lap. I think he is going to be in really good shape. He might jump all these guys. Because remember, he's right on the back of that pack. That's about, I don't know, that's about 5 seconds to make up to get all the way to the front. It's going to be tough. But like I said, if he can just keep hitting his marks here, and I expect him in at the end of this lap, because I'd put him at 11 to go. At the
Hmm.
same time, if you're keep on setting fastest laps, I mean, just stay out more, honestly, because you're only padding your lead right here.
True. As Cam and Giggle said, you know what? Let's come in a little bit early here, see what we can do. And those medium tires for them are going to be cooked by the end of this stint, but we'll see if they gain any time in the short run here.
Yeah, I mean, 12 laps should be fine on the mediums, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see. They're going to have to make some ground up. But if you look at Giggle, Giggle's got 10 seconds in front of them. And Cam has 15 seconds in front of him. So, anyway, there's really not much to gain here. Maybe they can bang on a couple quick laps here. Let's see if Lawrence comes into the pits right now, and he does. Do not speed, my friend. You're in a good spot.
Yeah,
He's pretty conservative there. That's probably smartly so.
yeah, does a great job of getting down to speed. Let's see what D'Angelo does. He does not copy him. He stays out.
Yeah, and if you're D'Angelo, I mean, D'Angelo is in a unique spot. He's kind of on his own little island in the race. So I don't think he has a whole lot to lose. And yeah, sure, if you're D'Angelo, why not stay out a little bit longer? And,
Oh, what a block by Silent on Mebe. Oh, look at this. Who's coming out of the pits right there? That's Lawrence. Look at this train.
right in the middle, and those mediums should not take as much time to warm up, so he should be able to get right back to attack mode. And again, I wonder, like, if he's just setting fastest laps, like, stay out maybe a little longer, but obviously, you know, it's one of those things, you probably didn't know that. But yeah, maybe gets around silence. That's a good, interesting development. But yeah, if you're D'Angelo, you know, why not stay out a few more laps? You know, if you get a well-timed VSC or safety car, you could suddenly be in the driver's seat here. Especially if you wait a couple more laps, then everyone will be wanting to pit for softs. So, he could put himself in a really good spot here. A little bit of luck.
Gosh, Mebe was pushing it on corner exit out of the hairpin, really getting squirrely. He has drained the battery as well, so Mebe feeling the pressure now as he's got Silent all over his gearbox.
So is Silent, and it looks like Vader and Lawrence both have plenty of battery left. Has about 20% less than Vader. Of course, Vader used a bunch of it there to get away from Lawrence, so do not blame him.
Man, we have such close racing between 5 drivers right here on the front stretch.
And here comes Lawrence.
Silent.
He's using it.
Gosh.
He's using it. Lawrence going for the move. Change for P2. Now if you're Lawrence, the hunt is on for B-Tom. You want to get this move done while the mediums are still fresh. Remember, like I said, after a few laps, it really does even out. Like I said, I think the hards are the better tire, but at least for the foreseeable future, for the next 3 or 4 laps, these tires will be better for Lawrence. You can just tell he just closed right up on back of B-Tom there.
Yeah, these mediums are good right now. Cam just set the fastest lap down in P7, which he's right behind D'Angelo as D'Angelo made his stop. So everybody has made their stops. This is the race for the lead right here.
Oh, boy. It's not often you see B-Tom get past, so I want to see how he responds when Lawrence overtakes him. I have a feeling he'll be cool as a cucumber. He's not rattled very easily, but I just want to see how this plays out. It's like Lawrence is going to use a little bit and probably save the majority of it for the straightaway. He does only have about 10% more ERS than B-Tom. B-Tom has a decent amount left, considering he's been leading pretty much the entire race. If you're Lawrence, just got to get a good exit here.
I think B-Tom got some of the grass there in turn 16. Not a great corner, and Lawrence is right there.
Yeah, and again, like I said earlier, B-Tom really seems to be using a lower downforce setup. And that forces Lawrence to really back out there.
Yeah,
I thought he did. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I thought he was going for a switchback. He just wasn't close enough. Lawrence wasn't.
Yeah, and then B-Tom just really looks like he's got a low downforce setup, which I think's really been working for him, because it's really, I mean, you've seen Silent was all over him in that first stint and just wasn't able to do anything with him until he made his mistake. So, And we saw even last lap how quickly Lawrence is able to gain on him through the S section. So, oh man, this is one of the most frustrating things when you know you're faster than the guy in front of you. You know you need to make the move soon. You just can't find a way past them. It's so frustrating.
I agree.
Oh, and Rockstar in the pits, and he retires in the pits. Man, that's unfortunate. He's caught up in that big mess of him and Giggle.
All right. So as we keep an eye out for the top two, Mebe has closed in on Vader, and they are both on the same strategy. So, yeah, you said it, man. You know, if Mebe can stay on track, he has the ability to be one of the fastest drivers in this class.
He needs to work on some consistency. And again, Lawrence gets a pretty good run. He's going to save his battery this time. And B-Tom is getting a bit dangerously low on his battery, as we have Seafreeze, who has spun out. Seafreeze is about to get lapped. Take a picture, folks. This does not happen every day.
Yeah, after
Take
last week,
and give him crap about it whenever you can.
Yeah, going from winning last week to being lapped this week. That's quite the opposite of circumstances.
And he's the defending winner of this race too,
right?
Yeah.
Strange.
So. Anyway,
yeah, back to it.
So it was like, aside from this top group, and aside from the battle for 11th, 12th, and 13th, I don't realize that many battles on track right here.
Yeah, well, the front is pretty close, and you know what, Charles? This is reminding me exactly of yesterday. We have a train of about 4 to 5 cars going for the win, and none of them are passing each other.
It's just a matter of hitting your marks here. And, if you're... Oh, man. Now, right now, Lawrence has about twice the battery as B-Tom. He just has to get a good exit out of the chicane. And honestly, if I'm Lawrence, I almost want to surprise him and maybe just dive up the inside before the chicane, maybe, here in a lap or two. If he doesn't get him here, maybe just... And B-Tom just gets such a good exit there. And Lawrence looks like he's dumping the battery.
Is he going to make the move right here in the turn 1? B-Tom's light is blinking. Lawrence trying to peek to the outside, and he's going to have to wait for now.
Now, I will say, as soon as the light started blinking, Lawrence backed off the battery. I think he knows with about the 20% battery advantage that he has, he's just got to keep on him, and he'll have him in the next couple laps. But the thing is, the medium tires, they're in their sweet spot now. That's only going to last for a couple more laps. So... the pressure is on for him to get around right here fairly shortly. Because I think if he doesn't get around him within the next, 3 laps or so, I think B-Tom holds on for the win.
We have an expert in the chat here. Chabar wants to clarify. Professional actually won this race last season, and he is right. He and Seafreeze had a last lap pass.
Okay, I had it right the first time.
Nothing gets by Chabar. As TJ has had a really bad race. 2 weeks in a row, he's not going to get any points, and it's been a poor start.
I would dump it now and get around him into the hairpin.
Yeah, absolutely. TJ out, so that makes 4 DNFs, and Lawrence going for it right here.
He should have used it right there. Taz would have been a sitting duck.
What kind of an exit is he going to get this time? B-Tom gets a good acceleration, but Lawrence is closer this lap. Side by side into turn 1. Lawrence around the outside, B-Tom on the inside, and he has the overtake completed.
All right, now if you're Lawrence, run for the hills now. See what you can do.
Run away. Get away from B-Tom. You do not want to have to deal with him late in this race.
Yeah, that was, Lawrence was just working him lap after lap there. That was an overtake about 4 laps in the making there.
Yeah, man.
He used all his batteries and waited for the right time as Silent had to let off the gas slightly, straddled that death curb under the bridge there.
That damn bridge, man. It's had some victims today. Not on the bridge, but under the bridge. It seems like we've had a few spins under there.
Yeah, that's probably the most spin-worthy place on the track. Yeah, that curb apparently had orders to assassinate any Alpine driver. Silent, though! That was actually a really good save, but he's going to lose DRS because of that. Or no, he won't. Yeah, he actually recovered that very nicely.
Yeah,
he has no battery now.
Yeah, he's going to have nothing to work with, so unless if something happens, he's not going to be in contention.
But yeah, props to him regardless, because that was a really good save.
Yeah, and Lawrence, fastest lap. So are we possibly going to see a debut winner here in Japan?
Beginner's luck. I'm kidding.
Hey, you know what? It happened here in the silver class last season. Nando, in his first ever start, won the Japanese Grand Prix for the silver class, and unless if he returns to TCR, that will stand as his only win in the league.
You know, I feel like it's not uncommon in like the golden and silver class having first time winners. You usually don't see that in the platinum class, having someone come in and win on their very first start. I mean, the only guy I could think of who probably did it was, I don't know, Passassin probably a few seasons ago. That's probably the only person I can think of. But look at the gap up front. 1 second. If Lawrence can just get that for a couple laps, I think he might be home and dry. Of course, he has to keep on hitting his marks and stay away from the death curve, but...
Yeah. And really, I mean, it was clear from the start of this session that he had pace because he did qualify up in P7. But man, to make his way up from P7 to P1 in his first start, and he's not really cracking under pressure right now. We're talking about somebody that could surprise the Platinum Grid if he decides to race the whole season.
Yeah, now Vader is right on the back of B-Tom.
Yeah, and Mebe is on the back of Vader.
Yeah. So they're all in a line. They're all pretty much out of ERS, too.
Ooh.
So.
Wow, close racing between these three. B-Tom is slow right here.
Yeah, B-Tom, like I said, that low downforce setup here through the S is probably going to work against him, but we shall see. And it's just, all these guys are pretty much on very low battery. Maybe got a little bit of a wiggle there.
Yeah, he was literally stalking Vader's gearbox all the way through the S's, and it's clear he's got the better pace right now.
So hard to overtake here.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, Lauren's got the move done, but otherwise it's been a train, and not just today, but pretty much all week. That's been the theme. You really have to make your overtakes as best as you can because it's just impossible here.
Well, I mean, look, you talking about Lawrence's overtake. That took him, like I said, that was a move 4 laps in the making, like I said. So, try to see if Vader is able to challenge B-Tom on the straightaway. Doesn't have much ERS to play with. Of course, neither does Vader, but we shall see 3 laps to go, rather.
Yeah, 3 laps remaining, and Mebe did not get a great run off turn 18, so this little train starting to separate. Vader does have a little bit of a gap on Mebe, and he's right on B-Tom, but like we said, you have to make the overtake actually happen, and none of these guys really have any battery to work with.
Yeah, and with these guys just do not make mistakes. Also worth noting, Silence back on the end of the train as well, so... Interesting there. Silent, this is not the race he was looking for. Started on pole and has slid down to P5. The race is not going his way.
Yeah, but he might... I don't know who the points leader is going to be, because you have Seafreeze, who won last week, you have Lawrence, who's going to win this week, and Silent was on the podium in Australia, and he's still going to get a decent finish today. So after a couple of rounds, we really don't have an answer as to who the clear favorite is, which shows you how competitive this tier is, and that's really how it should be.
Yeah, I think as it stands right now... Who got third last week? Was it B-Tom or Vader?
It was Vader.
So him and B-Tom should be tied. unless one of them got fastest lap points, which we know Lawrence currently has that right now. I think it was someone who finished down the order got the fastest lap last week, so probably have a tie atop the point standings as it stands. Unless Vader can get around B-Tom, which he is close. Not close enough, though.
Nope, and this is the battle for P2 as we have 2 laps remaining, and this looks like this is going to be all they can get as Lawrence is off into the sunset, and he is looking like he is going to win in his first Platinum start.
Like we learned last week, the race isn't over until you cross the finish line.
True.
Just looking down the order, there really are no battles going on currently. Maybe Chargers and F1 Racer might turn into something. But that's outside the points right now. Like I said, remember, this really shows the skill gap. And like I said, these top 5 guys are pretty much unflappable. Obviously, you can throw C-Freeze in there as well. Like I said, that incident really wasn't his fault. But yeah, everyone else, like, just look how spread out this field is. Like I said, you know, these guys are, I mean, D'Angelo's no slouch, and they're almost 12 seconds ahead of D'Angelo. Like, these guys are cooking.
They're cooking. Cooking up some podiums, and C-Free's fastest lap, so that takes away from anybody in the top 10.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to get that either. And it does not look like Vader's going to be close enough to B-Tom here to really challenge it. And everyone's blinking.
Yeah, as Lawrence has started the final lap, he's got 1 lap to go, and he's comfortably about 3 seconds ahead of B-Tom, who has a bunch of hungry dogs right behind him.
Yeah. And I don't know what happened to Giggle. Giggle must have spun, because now we have a battle for the last point spot here.
Yeah,
Racer and Chargers.
He spun under the bridge, go figure.
Pretends to be shocked. Alright, Chargers does have a lot of battery saved up here. Let's see if he can get the move done. He's a bit too far back here.
Yeah, for the last... Oh, and Giggle has cut the chicane with no wing.
He might be calling it.
Just finish the race. Just get across the line.
What happened to Nebby? What happened to Nebby and Silent?
Yeah, we missed that. They are both really far behind.
That is interesting.
It is, but we will head up to the front. Lawrence surprising the grid in his first ever start in the TCR Platinum class, making his way up from 7th on the grid all the way to 1st to the checkered flag. Lawrence wins the Japanese Grand Prix Round 2 in his first ever start.
And he set the fastest lap on the last lap. Just for good measure.
Yeah, great job by him. B-Tom, 2nd place. Darth Vader, 2 podiums in a row. A great start to the season for him. Mebe, after a slip on the last lap, P4, and Silent right behind him in P5.
Lawrence, come back.
You know what? He said, you know what? I had a job to do. I did it, and now I'm gonna go enjoy myself a little bit here.
Everyone else comes across the line. Again, D'Angelo, Cam, solid, quiet drives. F&D Cake's getting points.
I think something happened right there between Seafreeze and Raikkonen. That was odd. Huh. Interesting.
Hopefully it's nothing too serious, because you don't want to get into a tizzy over 13th place, but we shall see.
Yeah.
See if the comment section in the Discord goes up in flames.
It usually does, but we did have a close battle for P10, actually. TCR F1 Racer got the last point ahead of Chargers by about 0.3.
Yeah, I think, of course, that was pretty well covered by F1 Racer, so good rebound for him and F&D Cakes after they both finished outside the points in the Golden Class race yesterday. So I'm sure it's a solid drive for those guys. Alright, Alright, I'm gonna hop on off here. I'll be back in a couple minutes.
And I'm not too surprised by this. I heard from Seafreeze actually yesterday. He said that Lawrence is probably going to have pace. So we could really be looking at somebody competing for this championship really out of nowhere. It's really surprising when you have anybody come in mid-season and just light up the field. We saw GT Lion do that in the Golden Class a season ago, and he came 2 points away from getting the championship after missing several races and having several disconnects throughout the season. So you could say GT Lion missed about 5 races and still came within a couple of points. So after Lawrence missed week 1, he is right there already in the mix. Okay, so we are going to go and get these interviews underway. We're going to get, we'll start with Lawrence. We'll get him through because he's a PC guy, but then we will get the other two in here and we will do them afterwards.
All right, I am back.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to call Lawrence on Discord. We're going to get him through, and then we are going to interview the other guys. So do you want to get B. Tom and Mr. Vader in here?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Cool.
Cam, let's see those game files at Lawrence.
That's funny. All right, Charles, I added you to the Discord call.
I hear you loud and clear.
Sounds good. We'll just make sure Charles gets in here as well, and then we'll get this party started.
Not a problem. I'm doing another race in like 6 minutes here. I'm just sitting in the quality.
All right, we'll make sure we get this done promptly.
Not a problem.
All right, there's Charles. So we're going to start off with our winner here today, Lawrence. In your first TCR Platinum start, you get the victory. How are we feeling?
I wasn't expecting that going in. To be fair, I hopped on about 10 minutes before I had driven Suzuka a long time, so I was trying to make a setup in the quali, to be honest with you. So, didn't qualify as well as I wanted to, but I figured that once I get into the race, get some rhythm, that was where it was going to start coming good. And I think that's how that was the key of the race, was that 5-lap stint in between the medium hards pitting and then myself pitting lap 16. So I'll take that. Definitely will.
Absolutely. And, well, you definitely showed you had the pace today. What's your expectations for this season? You joined a race late, but do you think you have a chance here, possibly at the championship, if you race the whole season?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, Hector's a good friend of mine, nowadays. He's a good friend of mine. I've known him since F1 2017. He told me about the league here, and I figured, why not? I'll give it a try and see what I can do. And well, I really don't have any expectations going forward. Just to try to have some fun, do a few races, and see where it lands.
For sure. Charles, any questions for our round 2 winner?
I don't know. I think you covered it well. I guess what was going through your mind when you're trying to get around B-Tom there? Because I know y'all definitely had to work for it there. It seemed like it was an overtake about 4 laps in the making.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely, I would say I was cursing the lack of slipstream in these cars. But no, Tom was getting good exits out of the final chicane. I was struggling to follow on the nose. I just didn't have the greatest traction in the world. Maybe it's just a little bit out of practice. Maybe because just how good he was driving that exit of the chicane. But like I said, it did take about 4 laps, like you were saying. So I just had to really be patient. I knew I had the tires for a little while. I just had to pick my moment and commit when it was time. And thankfully, I was able to do that.
All right.
Awesome.
Great. Yeah, great analysis there. Great job, Lawrence, and we'll see you next week.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me. Bye-bye.
See you. Okay, so now that we have that out of the way, now we move on to P2 with B-Tom. Great race for you today. Definitely smoother sailing than round one. Looked like you had a chance there at Lawrence, but with the altering strategies, you just couldn't keep up with him on a different tire. Talk about your race and whether or not you would have done anything different there.
Oh yeah, the race was fairly clean. I do have one regret, and that's something with the setup. Basically, I loaded a version with the setup that had slightly too low ride height. So I was bottoming out through spoon on the exit curb. So I couldn't take the line I'd like to through there. So I was like dropping like half a tenth every single lap, which, considering how long the straight is after that point, it's not ideal. But yeah, I was fairly happy with getting on the front row. But I mean, I saw like after my pit stop, I saw RK Lawrence about 20 seconds ahead on the alternate strategy, and at that point, I kind of knew it was going to be tough. Since I mean, he'd come out like a second behind myself in professional on brand new mediums. I think professional let him through, which I mean, fair play, because I mean, chances are Lawrence would have beaten me, so making that easier for him just allows him to take a couple more points off me, which is fair. Thought I could hold him off for a bit longer than I did, but I just didn't quite have the grip. So yeah, fair play to him. I think you guys said he's coming for next week.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, it's seems like there's a new title contender. But yeah, all in all, decent race. A little disappointed with P2, and you know, that's how it goes. He was quicker, and he made the strategy work. So yeah, GG to him and professional.
Yeah, I am curious to hear from your perspective, because obviously you've been able to win a couple of championships here in the past couple of seasons. Now that we have somebody that could definitely compete up front on a weekly basis, win in his first start, do you worry about that, or do you just really focus on yourself and just try to be the best that you can, really?
Honestly, it's not really something I try to worry about. I mean, it's very clear that he's quick. But at the same time, it's like I just need to make sure that I get the most out of myself. Because if I focus too much on others, then that's energy I'm taking away from making sure I do the best job I can. So, yeah, I think he'll definitely be consistently fighting for wins. I'm not really sure what happened with him in quali, because I mean, based off his race pace, you would think he'd be a bit higher up, but. Yeah, we'll just see how it goes. I'm not really stressing over it too much.
Right on. Charles, any questions for our P2 finisher?
No, I guess I'll just ask another setup question. It looked like you were running slightly lower downforce than, say, Silent or even Lawrence, because I mean, except even DRS and battery, it was hard for them to gain on you in straight. Is that something you did intentionally, or is it just a setup you usually run?
Oh yeah, it's something I did intentionally. I sacrificed a bit of quality and race pace for a bit more straight line speed. Maybe in hindsight, I probably should have gone the other way, slightly, but at least when it came to holding back Silent and professional, it worked. But when someone has a bit more grip than you everywhere, then it's kind of important to have a bit more downforce on the car. So yeah, um, all in all, I think I made a fairly decent compromise with the time I had to get prepared for everything. But uh, yeah, I might have to look at how I go about that in the future.
All right, so now we are going to move on to P3. Mr. Darth Vader, you are the only person to have gotten a podium in both races so far this season, so congrats on that. How was your race, and did you think you had anything to possibly get past B-Tom there for another position?
Well, it's good to be back again. That's a cool stat. The only driver with the 2 podiums this season. So, Mr. Consistency. Hopefully,
Don't want
that'll
to
be
interrupt, but I technically
that's
have
up.
one too after a silence penalty.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, actually.
Yeah, still a really good job from professional, of course.
Yeah. No worries. I thought the race was really, really fun. I had a great time battling. It was a lot of just being patient and following and knowing when or when not to make a move. And I did a lot of practice. Probably don't want to say how many laps I did. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, but yeah, I just wanted to do well, and I did so many setup experiments and stuff, and I knew exactly what the setup was supposed to be. I felt like without Cody, who kind of joined in at the last second, and I mean, GG to him to just showing up and just winning the thing. So without him, I think I had the pace on everybody today. I was faster than Taz. I was faster than my teammate Silent, who we went complete opposite directions in the setup. And if you're a spectator and a viewer on the stream, it's pretty obvious what the setup was. I'm just curious of what Taz's or B-Tom's rear wing was, because I'm pretty confident I was running even lower. So I think I had the lowest downforce out of anybody on the track tonight. I think I had one of the best race pace. Sacrificed the quali for the race pace. I was going to do the hard and medium strat, but I heard from Intel the last 10 seconds everybody around me was on medium, so 2 seconds to go, just click the button on the mediums, and that was that. So all in all, I'm really happy. I knew that, I mean, well, maybe I shouldn't say it on stream, but I knew that the overcut was going to work. Being on the medium tire first. If you're on the hard tire, you got to pit before, but if you're on the medium tire to start, you got to pit. You got to pit 1 lap after. The hard tire just does not warm up on that lap, and even with worn mediums, dump the ERS. It's pretty easy to stay ahead or to jump ahead. So that was the plan to try to get ahead of my teammate. It worked. I don't think he was too happy about it, but right now we're both fighting for the championship, and at some point in the season we'll decide who to support. So I don't really think there's anything wrong with that today. And yeah, I'm excited to battle Taz every race and see where we end up.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to you two going at it, and I'm just curious. You won here in Japan last season, and you finished on the podium again here today. And I know we see you up front all the time, but would you consider Japan one of your best tracks, probably?
I wouldn't say it's one of my best tracks. It's just a comfortable track to drive, and I think whenever I'm comfortable, I'm pretty quick. Just kind of zone in and just being really consistent with the lap times and making no mistakes. I think I had one snap tonight. Other than that, it was pretty clean. So yeah, it could be a good track, but not my best one.
Cool. Charles, any questions for Mr. Vader?
Well, first of all, good job. Did your username used to be 007 Skywalker?
We don't talk about that. It's just this 007 professional, and that's
it's a yes or no question.
That's the only possibly.
Well, what made you go to the dark side?
I've always been a Star Wars fan for years, and obviously the profile pic on Discord, says that too. And had an opportunity to change the name, and I was like, yeah, it's either going to be like a Skywalker thing, Darth Vader, it could be Darth Sidious or something, but Darth Vader has always been my favorite Star Wars character. So I wouldn't say like I'm a dark-sided person, pretty positive outlook and stuff, but I just like the character. So it sounds menacing too, doesn't it? Darth Vader around the outside of Taz, but Fortunately, that didn't happen tonight, so you weren't able to say it.
Yeah. Just stay away from the young ones.
And then he woke up.
Yeah.
By the way, what wings were you running? Since you said you were running the lowest.
I think I was, but I want to know yours first before I reveal mine. And I will definitely reveal the truth if you do yours first. So.
Yeah, sure. I have no, reservations about that. I was running.
Nothing to hide, right?
Yeah, no.
Okay, yeah. 26:21, nice. I was running 23:18.
Oh wow, yeah. That's really low.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, that was definitely a cool down room experience right there, if I've ever seen one.
Take notes.
Yes, yeah. Take notes for next season because we're done here this season. And, I don't know if we'll see Japan next season because we've had this 2 seasons in a row, maybe 3. So could be getting the axe next season. But
I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, who knows?
Track's not very good for racing, to be honest.
No, it's
Yeah.
not. It's really not. It's probably one of the worst ones on the calendar. Just a bunch of follow the leader.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, it was hard to overtake on Tuesday, and then we saw it yesterday as well. We just see trains here in Japan for some reason, but I think that will do it for Japan this week. Charles, any final thoughts? I know we got off to a rocky start, which is partially my fault, but any final thoughts on this whole event?
Yeah, I don't think that was your fault, but no, it was a good race. It was just, like I said, it was just a lot of choo-choos going around. But yeah, obviously surprise winner and pretty exciting conclusion. Bit of a shocking thing that I definitely did not see coming. No safety cars all week, so everyone in TCR, good job. Just stop spinning under the bridge. But other than that, really clean, pretty much all throughout. So
I agree. Stop spinning under the bridge. Platinum guys and golden guys, stop spinning in the hairpin. I'm not sure. Silver didn't have many incidents. I know we had a couple in the S's, so I guess silver drivers watch out for the S's. But no, I thought we were going to see a safety car in every single race this week, actually. I was talking with Freeze about that. I almost put money on us having a safety car on Tuesday, so I'm glad that I didn't do that. But you think we're going to see more safety cars next week, Charles, with the 3 tires in the sprint race?
Definitely. There's always seems to be some chaos at Brazil one way or the other. So definitely the 3-tire strategy. There's gonna be a lot of different variants of strategy. I kind of hope we don't see safety cars next week. Although Brazil kind of lends itself to safety cars, I feel like. Like I said, I want to see a race or two where the 3-tire strategy thing gets to play itself out. I think that'd be it's always really intriguing to see. But yeah, my money would be on more safety cars next week, unfortunately. But I'm happy to be proven wrong.
Same here, but we will find out next week in Brazil for not only the sprint race, but we have the 3-tire compound edition where drivers have to use all 3 tire compounds in the race. So that will be something new, something exciting, but tune in then next week, same time, same place. Well, same time if we can get everything fixed next week. But for now, I've been Camden Luca. That's been Sir Charles, and we're out from Japan. We will see you for round of 3 next week in Brazil. Have a good night.